Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to share some email hacks learned in my career. It is a collection of tips and tricks from my life, both personal and professional, and what I typically train my leaders on. It also stems from a lot of the common mistakes that I see my staff making on a day-to-day basis, which is preventing them from being more productive. For context, so you better understand my angle of view, personally, I invest, consult, and operate startups planning for or navigating through a growth phase in their business. Typically, a CEO position responsible for moving the organization towards their goals as fast as humanly possible. So, I am very sensitive to anything preventing productivity. If you like comment like this, please subscribe so you don't miss future videos like the one that preceded this one. It's actually where the idea for this video came from and talked about how to organize your day to be as productive as possible. I'll put the link at the end of this video if you want to check that out. Okay, so let's get started. First and foremost, time blocks. You need to time block out when you are going to touch your emails. You need to define the time blocks and you need to stick to them. My personal schedule, I only open my inbox twice a day. The first time is typically before my workday even starts. I usually carve out half an hour to 45 minutes to dive in, get as much done as I can, and really make sure I understand and am ready for the day ahead of me. And the second time is at the end of the day. So when I'm about to sign off, the last thing that I do is I jump back into my email and I go at it again, trying to get as much done as I can and just make sure that I'm caught up on what happened during the day. And again, just to set myself up for success for the next day. What I recommend is do not get stuck in your inbox all day. I generally refer to your inbox as the whirlwind of your day. It is super easy to jump in and get lost in your inbox. It will result in a constant battle of small tasks that often have to do nothing to do with your goals or as an employee, how you're being measured on success by your manager. It generally has nothing to do with projects that will help you move the company closer to the goals. It is generally just a whirlwind and a time suck. So I recommend not leaving your inbox open all day. Just carve out those two time blocks. Again, I like to think of your inbox as white noise. Generally find people use their inbox and the emails within it to knock out a whole bunch of small tasks, um, generally making them feel productive. But again, taking a step back and looking at the big picture, generally not working on the larger projects that they're being measured on or projects that will help move the company forward. So I recommend only carving out small times of the day to do it. Everything else should be focused on the things that are more important. Next thing, drinking the Kool-Aid on what email is and what email isn't. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with what email isn't. You need to drink the Kool-Aid on the idea that your email is not a time management system. It isn't the thing that you open to dictate what you're going to do today. It is also not your CRM. It is not the place to put all of your client information or the place you go to find contact information or the latest thing on the client, etc. There are tools for that. It is not a project management software. Again, piggybacking on the first comment, that is not your time management system to dictate what you're doing today. It isn't a list of all the projects that you have to do. It is also not a file storage system. And I know lots of people use their email as the basically the save everything space. It's where you go to find things. But there are better tools to use for this that are more organized and more productive. And you should get away from using your inbox to do this. What email is, on the other hand, is a great way to communicate, receive information, give updates. That's what email is for, nothing else. If you can drink the Kool-Aid on that, everything else in this video will make more sense. The next tip that I would tell people is I would just explain how I treat emails to get through them very effectively. And the cardinal rule here is you only ever touch an email once. It's hard to believe, but only ever touch an email once. I generally find that there are only three things that you're going to do with an email, and they're going to fall into one of these buckets. First and foremost, you're being provided information. Very simply, you read it and then you file it and then you are done. You are done with the email, move on to the next. Second one is you are being requested of information. It's an information request. This, as a leader in the company, I do one of two things: either reply giving them the information, or I delegate it to somebody else so that it gets done. But in each case, it's a one touch scenario. Delegate it, introduce them to somebody else who can get them the information, or I reply with what they're looking for, file the email, be done with it. The last one is you're being requested to do a task. I recognize this one might take a little longer, it may sit in your inbox a little longer, but what's really important here is, again, only touching it once. So you've understood the task, decide when to do it. When you decide to do it, work on the task till complete, delegate or file the email when done. It's that simple. So only touch the email once. You are either reading and filing, delegating or replying, or you're doing the task or delegating, and you're done. Next one might be a little controversial. It is inbox zero, the mythical inbox zero, how to get your inbox down to zero emails. And I think it is possible. I think. Admittedly, on a daily basis, I'm typically inbox 20. And the way I do that is I stick to my time blocks: 30 to 45 minutes in the morning, another 30 to 45 minutes at the end of my day. I can typically get my inbox down to 20 or 40 emails, which I think are completely manageable. It allows me to be prepared for the next day. It allows me, again, to stay on track with the things that are more important, which are the projects that I work on during the day, not the emails themselves. And I know there's a lot of you out there shaking your head. Some of you are probably even laughing. You're probably looking at your inbox right now, seeing inbox 6,000. And I get it. And here's what I would say to you: of your 6,000 emails, 5,950 of them are no longer relevant. What I would suggest you do is go down to a time, maybe 2 weeks ago. If you're not quite ready to do it, maybe a month ago, and highlight everything a month or older and just delete them. What you're going to find is you realize 99.9% of the emails you never needed, and it's okay to let them go. Having a smaller inbox will keep you more on point, it'll keep you more organized, and any of those important emails that you deleted, I promise you they'll come back in one way or another. But go ahead and just delete that inbox. You really don't need it. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk to you about today is email etiquette. And admittedly, this is more of a vent on my end as a leader, but I think it needs to be said, because if we can all just follow these very simple rules, not only will email be a more productive tool, everybody will on your team, you included, will be more productive. First and foremost, the to field. This is for the person generally responsible for whatever you are requesting. One of my personal pet peeves is when I get an email, it's got 15 people in the to box. It says, hey, all, and nobody really knows who you're talking to. And so as a result, most people just assume you're talking to somebody else, and you never get the attention that you require. You can avoid this by, in the to box, put who the email is actually for, who you are requesting information from, or the email is intended to be for. Very similarly, the CC field, this is for everybody else. Generally, everybody that would benefit from being informed on the email or informed on the thread, but not necessarily responsible for contributing in any way. These are people who are just going to read the information, file the email, and they are generally informed on what's happening, but don't need to do anything. Keep the to and the CC very separate. As I mentioned earlier, call out a name specifically if you are asking for something. As I mentioned earlier, hey all, or that just doesn't work. Be very specific. If you need something from Susan, say, hello, Susan, and then generally say, I need your help on X. Anything else doesn't work. If you're not named specifically, generally people feel that it's not for them. You're not going to get the attention that you need. You will get more results when you call people out specifically by name. On the other end, replying to emails, this one drives me crazy. I see it every single day. We start out with an email thread with a group of people. Whoever's responsible starts replying. Use reply all. Reply all will let everybody on the thread continue to be informed on what was going on. It's just that simple. In fact, I recommend don't ever use the reply button at all. Even if there's only one person on the thread, use reply all just to get in the habit of doing it. Next thing I would suggest, adding a new person to the thread. If a new person's in the thread, just add their name at the top. The plus symbol, John, plus John, adding John to the thread. Anytime you want to do that, it lets everybody on the thread know if a new person's involved. It lets John know that they are being added. They need to pay special attention to this, etc. And then the last one that I'll leave you with is the use of the BCC field. I think everybody knows how to use this when they want to keep somebody informed, but not let the person know that they're talking to that somebody else is paying attention. But another great use of the BCC field is when you're taking somebody off an email thread. Negative symbol, John, John, moving you to BCC. So he knows that he is being moved off of the thread and all future replies will not include them. So there we have it. Some tips and hacks that'll help make you and your team a little more productive, specifically when it comes to email. I hope this video gave you something to think about, and if you found it insightful, you should check out my ebook. I'll put the link in the description below for you. It covers the first 10 things I would address when helping an organization guide through or plan for a growth phase in their startup. Lastly, if you have any other email tips and tricks, I would love to hear them in the comments below, so let us know. Thanks again for watching.